It started innocently enough, just another Tuesday, the kind of day that slips by almost unnoticed, blending into the background of 1,000 other ordinary mornings. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a gentle golden glow over the rooftops and lawns, and the world felt calm, almost suspended in time. There was a stillness in the air, broken only by the distant chirping of birds and the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. It was the sort of morning that made you feel like nothing out of the ordinary could possibly happen. I was heading out to grab the mail, same routine as always. My slippers scuffed quietly against the driveway as I stepped outside, the cool air brushing against my face and waking me up a little more. The neighbourhood was just beginning to stir. Somewhere a garage door rumbled open and a dog barked in the distance. I could smell the faint aroma of someone's coffee brewing, drifting through an open window. It was a moment of peace, a small ritual that marked the start of my day. I didn't expect anything unusual. I didn't expect anything at all, just the usual stack of bills, maybe a flyer or two, nothing more. Walked down the driveway, past the rose bushes Mum's so proud of, stop at the letterbox. The roses were in full bloom, their petals catching the morning light, and I paused for a second to admire them. Something I'd seen 100 times before, but today they seemed especially vibrant. Maybe it was the way the dew clung to the leaves, or the way the sunlight made everything look a little more alive. I reached the letterbox, feeling the familiar cool metal under my fingers, and for a brief moment everything felt perfectly normal. Just another Tuesday or so, I thought. But something was different this time. You know how you can walk through the same place 100 times and it always feels the same? The crunch of gravel under your shoes, the creak of the old gate, the familiar shapes of trees and garden beds. Tonight, as the last light of day faded and the shadows stretched long across the yard, there was a feeling in the air, a kind of hush, as if the world was holding its breath. I paused at the edge of the garden, my eyes adjusting to the dimness, and for a moment I wondered if I was imagining things. Maybe it was just the way the wind moved through the leaves, or the way the dusk made everything look a little strange. But there was something else, something that didn't belong. Right there, between the letterbox and the big gum tree, was a door. Not a gate, not a fence, not a garden shed, just a door standing upright, as if someone had plucked it from a hallway and dropped it right in the middle of the yard. It was so out of place, so utterly unexpected, that for a second I thought I must be dreaming. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, even looked away and back again, but it was still there, solid, real, impossible. A regular wooden door, painted a dull grey, the kind of door you might find in an old house, maybe leading to a forgotten room or a dusty attic. The paint was faded and peeling in places, the wood beneath rough and splintered. There were marks on it, scratches, dents, little nicks and scars that hinted at a long history. It looked as though it had weathered years of storms and sun, yet here it was, standing alone with no walls to hold it, no hinges to swing from. Just a door and nothing more. It wasn't fancy, didn't have a knob or anything. No brass handle, no keyhole, not even a number or a nameplate. Just a blank, unadorned surface, as if it was waiting for someone to decide what it should be. I ran my hand along the edge, half expecting to find a hidden latch or a secret button, but there was nothing. It was as plain and ordinary as a door could be, and yet In this place, at this time, it was the strangest thing I'd ever seen, just a plain, out-of-place door where there'd never been one before. It stood there, silent and unmoving, as if daring me to question its presence. I tried to remember if I'd ever seen anything like it before. Maybe a neighbour's prank, or some kind of art installation. But this was different. This was personal. It felt as though the door had appeared just for me, as if it was waiting for me to notice it. The rest of the yard was unchanged. The same patchy grass, the same old garden beds, the same worn path leading to the back fence, but the door was new, and it demanded my attention. I would have noticed a door there. It's not something you miss. You can overlook a lot of things in a backyard: an old hose coiled in the grass, a forgotten toy, a bird's nest tucked high in the branches. But a door just standing there, bold as brass, right in the open? That's not the sort of thing you walk past without a second glance. I tried to think back. Had I seen it yesterday, the day before? I was sure I hadn't. It was as if it had sprung up overnight, like a mushroom after rain. And yet there it was, as real as anything I'd ever seen. I stood there for a bit, just staring at it. Time seemed to slow down, the world narrowing to the space between me and that door. My mind raced with questions. Where had it come from? Who had put it there? Was it meant for me? I felt a strange mix of curiosity and unease, like the feeling you get when you hear your name called in an empty house. Part of me wanted to walk away, to pretend I hadn't seen it, but another part, a deeper, more insistent part, wanted to know more. I took a step closer, then stopped, heart pounding in my chest. The sun felt warm on my back. Kookaburras were laughing somewhere in the distance. Their calls echoed through the stillness, a reminder that the world was still turning, that life went on as usual. The scent of eucalyptus hung in the air, mingling with the faint smell of earth and grass. It should have been an ordinary evening, peaceful and calm. But the presence of the door changed everything. It was as if the yard had become a stage, and I was the only audience waiting for the next act to begin. Everything seemed normal, except for that door. The grass still needed mowing, the flowers still drooped in the heat, the old swing still creaked in the breeze, but the door was a crack in reality, a question mark in the middle of a sentence. I found myself glancing around, half expecting someone to step out from behind a tree and explain the joke. But there was no one. Just me, the yard, and the door. I wondered what would happen if I opened it, if I could open it. Would it lead somewhere, or was it just a door, nothing more? It felt wrong, like a word you know is spelled wrong, but you can't figure out why. There was a tension in the air, a sense that something was about to happen. I could feel it in my bones, a prickling at the back of my neck, a flutter in my stomach. The door was an invitation and a warning, a mystery wrapped in plain wood and peeling paint. I stood there, caught between fear and fascination, knowing that whatever happened next, I would never see my backyard the same way again. I should have just kept walking. The street was quiet, the kind of quiet that settles in just after sunset when the world seems to hold its breath. My footsteps echoed softly, the only sound in the hush. There was nothing to suggest tonight would be any different. As I walked, something tugged at the edge of my awareness, a subtle shift, a feeling that I was not as alone as I thought. I should have just kept walking, let the night close in behind me, and left whatever it was undisturbed. I grabbed the mail, bills, a flyer, a letter in unfamiliar handwriting. I should have just taken it inside. The air seemed to thicken, as if the world was waiting for something. I lingered, unable to shake the feeling that something was about to happen. That door at the end of the hallway pulled at me. I'd passed it 100 times, but tonight it felt different. Alive, waiting. I felt a magnetic pull, a compulsion I couldn't explain. My heart pounded as I stood, caught between the safety of the familiar and the lure of the unknown. I walked toward it, each step hesitant. The hallway seemed to stretch, shadows deepening. The closer I got, the more the world faded away. I paused, my hand hovering at my side, every instinct screaming to turn back. Curiosity kept me rooted in place. The wood looked old, scarred, the paint peeling. There were marks near the bottom, scratches, deliberate. The doorknob was tarnished, cold. I felt a chill, as if I was standing on the threshold of something unknowable. I reached out, my hand hovering just before it. The space between my skin and the wood felt charged, the air thick with anticipation. I hesitated, caught in that moment between decision and action. The door felt cold, much colder than it should have been. The chill bit into my skin, as if the door had been waiting for this moment. I pressed my palm flat against the wood, feeling the roughness, the history. There was no turning back. I pressed my ear to the door, and a faint scratching echoed from the other side. Steady, desperate, almost deliberate. I waited, breath held, but the sound never stopped. What was trapped behind that door? Or was it trying to invite me in? I still don't know, and sometimes, late at night, I wonder if the door is waiting for me to listen again. Have you ever experienced something chilling or mysterious? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear what haunts your nights. And if you crave more unsettling tales, don't forget to subscribe and join us every week for another journey into the unknown with stories from the dark. Who knows what you'll discover if you dare to listen.